theme that appears throughout literature. It's from the Bible, it's from The Wizard of Oz, it's from the book Eat, Pray, and Love. And when you see the concept of journey, it usually revolves around three themes. There's a journey to understand yourself, there's a journey to understand others, and there's a journey in which you have to take action. So this afternoon, I'd like to speak to you on all three of those sub-themes, and specifically on the theme, A Journey of Belief.
I hated education. I hated school. I was not really interested in middle school. I thought middle school was very difficult. I really wasn't interested in high school. And I went to college, and I'll never forget, I got to my first year, and I did very well in English 101. In fact, the faculty member, I never forget, I was majoring in business. And the faculty member stopped me after an essay and said, I really think you should consider changing your major to English. The second semester, I began English 102, and I had a very young faculty member, Dr. Adele Newsom. She was 26, I believe, and she was teaching English 102. I'm in the back being the class clown in English 102 in college. I'm cracking jokes, I'm keeping the class entertained. And I'll never forget, she stopped the class and she says, "Young man, I'm gonna give you an F if you don't improve and behave." And I looked at Dr. Newsom and I went up one side of her and down the other. "I pay your salary, I don't know who you're talking to, yada, yada, yada." And it was the light bulb moment for my academic career. For the first time, I believe someone truly challenged me to demonstrate that I could do the work and not really fluff my way through the educational journey. And I haven't worked so hard in all my life to write essays and to read the novel and to understand the character arc. On the second to last day of class, she goes through the list of all students who had received an A in the class. And if you received an A in advance, then you didn't need to take the final exam. And she called my name. And I fell out the chair. I couldn't believe it. And so it was, I always say, it's the light bulb moment that I experienced in higher education that made me continue. And then I never forget, I applied to doctoral programs, and I applied to a few of them, by the way. I applied to Ohio State, I had applied to Penn State, I had applied to University of Illinois, and I'll never forget, all three of them called me back. Penn State was full. The other schools said, "Oh, we don't have housing." University of Illinois indicated, "We're ending our program." And so I said, "Oh, I didn't think a doctorate really was within my reach." And I said, "Well, maybe I just need to go to work." And Dr. Charles Salters, who went to my church, said, "Well, have you ever thought about applying to Morgan State University in Baltimore?" Morgan is a premier doctoral research institution. And I said no, because like most students, you don't want to go to school where you live, right? And I was like, no, I wanted to go away again. And so I never forget, I applied. I was granted an interview. I sat with the interview committee. I thought, a great interview. I get my acceptance letter, but you also get the bill. And you look at the bill and you go, well, how am I going to pay this? And all of a sudden, I get a letter in the mail that I had been awarded the Gold Seeker Fellowship for 3 years for the doctoral work. And so my doctoral work was paid for. And I was like, this is incredible. And so I begin the journey, and I go through the doctoral program. I love the coursework. It probably was my favorite degree. The coursework was amazing because it wasn't work. If you enjoy what you're doing and what you're studying, it's not work. And I had a tremendous, difficult dissertation process. I talk about the dissertation process because it's one of the times in my life I believed I experienced a miracle. And the dean of the graduate school indicated that he's too young to graduate from this program. And I am 27, going on 28 years old, and he's like, he's too young. He's too young. And so he began to put obstacles in the way so I couldn't finish this degree. And so I never forget, we are on the week of commencement, and he calls me into his office along with my dissertation advisor, and he goes through my dissertation that he had faxed. He had faxed a 100-some-page dissertation to 3 colleagues around the nation asking for feedback on this research. And he had compiled all the comments, and he literally is going through the comments one by one. It is Thursday. Commencement is Sunday. The book is printed on Friday, right? And I'm like, oh, this is not gonna work. And we're sitting there from 9 o'clock in the morning, I'll never forget this, and he's going line by line. One of the greatest advices I received from Dr. Iola Reagan Smith, who was my dissertation chair, she says, you never argue with people. You let the authorities argue for you. And so as he identified one by one, issue by issue, I said, well, according to Kate Turabian in edition 5 of How You Document, it says the internet resources are documented this way. So that's why that is that way. And we went through, according to Natch Myers in the research book, independent variables start out a chapter because A, B, and C. And I kept going through that. We just kept going through that over and over and over with the dean. And finally, he got frustrated and he said something like, cussed at my dissertation chair. And she got up and she said, I have seen deans come and I have seen them go. And she stormed out. And I'm like, oh, okay, where'd Dr. Smith go? So it's just the dean and I sitting there in his office, and I kept going line by line with this man, point by point. And so it's 1 o'clock and my pre-meeting of my final defense is scheduled for 1. He says, well, you need to go get your committee and we're gonna see, but I don't think you're really ready. And so I never forget, I went and got Dr. Smith, she was in her office. I went and got my other, Dr. Marlene Greer-Chase, she was in her office. And then when I went to go look for Dr. Haynes was nowhere to be found. And I'm negotiating with his secretary, well, do you know where he went? Well, he went to lunch somewhere, but she was unsure. And it's now 1:15, it's 1:20, it's 1:25. And I excused myself, and I'll never forget, I went to the bathroom and I said this incredible prayer. And I told God, I said, at this moment, I need you to manipulate time. Whatever is happening with Dr. Haynes, I need you to manipulate time. If he went to lunch 5 minutes ago, I need you to make it 50 minutes ago, right? I need time to be moved around so it works in my favor at this moment. And I come back into the office of the graduate school, and the dean of the graduate school comes into the conference room and he says, well, since your entire committee is not here, you will not be able to defend this dissertation. And his secretary walked in and said, Dr. Haynes just called, he is on his way. And it was the biggest breath I had ever taken in my life. And so Dr. Haynes came in and we begin the process and we go through all the research and all the findings. And they asked me to leave the room, and I sit in the lobby of the graduate school with 2 of the administrative secretaries, and I talk to them about what a miracle is. And I'll never forget, she was saying that she was unable to pay her gas bill, and all of a sudden she got a refund check from her insurance company. And I said, do you know that that's a miracle? Because a miracle is simply defined as timeliness. It's not how it happened or who made it happen, it's did it show up on time. That's what a miracle really is. And so the door opens of the conference room and my chair, she does a thumbs up to me. And I'm like, okay, well, I got one day. I'm gonna go home tomorrow. I'm gonna go home Friday. Tonight, really Thursday, and I'm gonna do everything tonight. If I gotta stay up all night and call my friends to help me, and I'm gonna make all the corrections, and I'll come back Friday and I'll do the oral defense so my name can be in the book and I can graduate on Sunday. I said, okay. I walk in the room and she remains standing. And then Dr. Marlene Chase gets up and then Dr. Haynes stands up. And I look and I'm befuddled. I have no idea what is going on. And they said, congratulations, Dr. Davis. You'll be the first student in Morgan's history to never have to do an oral defense. Congratulations. And so you may be shocked. I only sent out 2 resumes. One was to Onondaga Community College, and one was to the Community College of Beaver County. I received interviews for both of them, And this is the institution that called me. I knew no one in Beaver County. I didn't know anyone here. And Dr. Chris Reber offered me the position. And he said if I would be honored if you would come. And I said, I'm honored that you're selecting me to come. And I came here, and I was so excited to be here. I never forget the first day Dr. Reber asked me, he took me to lunch. And he said, you have desire to be a president? And I said, I do. And he said, well, I'm hoping to help you on that journey. And I started as the Vice President for Academic Affairs here and the Executive Vice President. And after 2 years, Dr. Reber decided to accept another opportunity in New Jersey. And the board looked and said, well, you're it. And I stepped into that role as the first African-American president of this institution and the 9th president at the Community College of Beaver County.